My fiancée slept with her ex while I was planning our honeymoon. So I canceled everything, took back the ring, and she still has no clue why. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and I thought I was marrying my soulmate. Claire wasn't just my girlfriend, she was my calm in the storm. The kind of woman who laughed at my worst jokes, who'd leave sticky notes on my dashboard that said things like, "You got this, babe," and who knew exactly how I liked my coffee without ever having to ask. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue, and from the first moment it felt like we just clicked. I didn't fall fast, but with her, I fell hard. After 3 years of what I can only describe as the most stable relationship I'd ever known, I proposed during a trip to the Smoky Mountains. Just us, no cameras, no audience. I pulled out the ring while we stood at the overlook, watching the morning fog roll through the hills like waves. She cried, I cried, she whispered, yes, 1,000 times yes. That was the happiest moment of my life. We went back to the cabin, lit a fire, drank champagne, and talked for hours about our future. Kids, careers, stupid baby names, arguments over paint colors. It all felt so real, so close, so ours. Her parents were over the moon. Mine were relieved. I'd finally settled down with someone they actually liked. Our friends started throwing us mini celebrations. Every day felt like a countdown to forever. I didn't know then that while I was planning to give her the world, she was still tangled up in her past. I didn't know that the very person I trusted most would lie to my face with the same lips that kissed my forehead every night, but I would find out, and when I did, I didn't scream. I didn't cry, I just stopped believing in forever. The days after the proposal were a whirlwind. Claire jumped headfirst into wedding planning, and honestly, I was relieved to let her take the reins. I've never been the Pinterest board type. She, on the other hand, had color palettes, theme ideas, and spreadsheets that scared me a little. Every night she'd cuddle up beside me with her laptop and ask things like, "Babe, do you want champagne or blush napkins?" I'd smile, kiss her cheek, and say, "Whichever one makes you happier." Because that's all I wanted, to make her happy. While she obsessed over florals and seating charts, I took on the financial side. I started picking up freelance gigs on weekends, worked overtime when I could. I even stopped going out with my friends just to put more money aside. I wasn't bitter about it. I was proud. I wanted to give Claire the kind of honeymoon she'd remember forever. She always talked about the Maldives, glass villas over turquoise water, sipping cocktails while watching the sun set into the sea. So that's what I aimed for. I quietly started researching packages, made calls, and began paying off a trip I hadn't even told her about yet. It was going to be my surprise. But around the same time, something shifted. She started coming home later than usual. Always some excuse, traffic, a meeting that ran long, last-minute errands. I didn't question it. Not at first. She was still affectionate, still sweet, but there was a new kind of distance behind her eyes. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see her lying next to me, wide awake, scrolling through her phone with her face turned away. When I asked if something was wrong, she smiled and said, "Just wedding stress. Don't worry," so I didn't, but maybe I should have. It was a Tuesday night when the first crack appeared. Claire was in the shower, steam curling under the bathroom door while I lay in bed, scrolling through Airbnb options for a possible layover in Dubai. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Once, then again. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear I wasn't. But the screen lit up, and the preview flashed before it dimmed. Jake. Work. Last night was amazing. Still thinking about you. My stomach flipped. I sat up, stared at the phone like it had slapped me. Jake? From work? Claire had mentioned to Jake once. He'd joined the team a few months ago. Kind of a try-hard, she had said. Totally harmless. Now he was texting her about last night. I told myself it had to be a misunderstanding. Maybe it wasn't that kind of amazing. Maybe it was a group thing. A party. A joke. I didn't want to believe what my gut was already screaming at me. She walked out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her hair, skin glowing from the heat. She looked normal, like the woman I loved. I forced a laugh and said, "Hey, your phone's blowing up." "Jake from work?" She froze just for a second. Barely a flicker, but it was enough. Then she smiled, slipped into bed beside me and said, "Yeah, he's annoying." He's always messaging the team about after-work drinks and stuff. Don't even pay attention to it, I nodded. Tried to believe her. Tried to silence that voice in my head whispering, that wasn't a group text. That wasn't innocent. That night, I noticed how she turned her phone over before setting it down. How she kept it on silent. How she typed quickly when she thought I wasn't looking. Something wasn't right. And for the first time, I started to wonder if I was being played. I hated that I even had the thought. Claire had never given me a reason to doubt her before. She was loyal, affectionate, consistent. At least that's what I'd believed. But after seeing that message from Jake, something cracked in me. And no matter how many times I tried to plaster it over with logic or love, it wouldn't stay sealed. So I did what most people in denial do. I blamed myself. Maybe I've been distant lately. Maybe she feels alone. Maybe I've been so focused on honeymoon bookings and money that I haven't made her feel wanted. I doubled down on everything. More flowers, more back rubs, more good morning texts. I even wrote her a dumb little letter about how excited I was to build a life with her. I left it on her pillow with a chocolate bar she liked. She found it later that night, hugged me and whispered, "You're too good to me." And yet, she still flinched when I reached for her phone. We stopped having sex. She said she was just tired, overwhelmed, hormonal. I didn't want to be the guy who pushed. So I respected it. We'd go to bed and she'd curl away from me, scrolling under the blanket, screen brightness low. I'd lie there staring at the ceiling fan spinning in the dark, pretending I didn't feel like a stranger in my own bed. One night I asked gently, "Are we okay?" She looked over, paused, and said, "Yeah, why wouldn't we be?" I nodded, kissed her forehead. Said nothing, but inside I felt something die a little. That kind of silence where you can scream in your head and smile on your face at the same time. That's the kind of silence that changes people, and I was starting to change. I didn't have to go digging. The truth found me on its own. It was a lazy Sunday when it happened. Claire was out running errands, and I was grabbing coffee with Mia, a close friend we'd both known for years. She and Claire weren't super tight, but they got along well enough. As we waited for our drinks, Mia casually said, "So, Claire and Drew seemed cozy the other day." I blinked. "Drew? Her ex Drew?" Mia sipped her drink. "Yeah, I thought you knew. I saw them at that little Thai place by her old apartment. I almost said hi, but they looked in deep conversation." My entire body tensed. Claire hadn't mentioned seeing Drew at all. Not recently. Not ever. When I got home, she was on the couch in sweats, acting like nothing happened. I sat down next to her and said as casually as I could, "Hey, did you run into Drew recently?" She blinked, then laughed a little. "Oh, yeah. I saw him last week. Total coincidence. We just caught up for like 5 minutes. No big deal," I nodded slowly. No big deal. My gut said otherwise. That night when she fell asleep, I remembered her old iPad in the drawer. She hadn't used it in months, said it was outdated and slow. But I knew she'd once synced her messages to it for convenience. My hands were shaking as I powered it on. It loaded, slowly, glitchy, but it worked. Her iMessages were still synced. I shouldn't have looked. But I did. What I found will stay with me forever. Messages from Drew. Not old ones, recent. Dozens. Some flirty. Some explicit. Some with hotel booking confirmations, photos, descriptions of their nights together. One message that read, "He has no idea." It's kind of thrilling. I stared at the screen for over an hour. No tears. Just silence. Because at that moment, I realized the woman I was planning forever with was living a double life right under my nose. I didn't yell. I didn't confront her. I didn't even breathe for a full minute. I just sat there in the dark, the soft glow of the iPad screen lighting up betrayal after betrayal. My fiancée, the woman who wore my ring and slept beside me every night, had been sneaking around with the man she once swore was a toxic chapter she'd never reopen. I felt hollow, numb. My chest wasn't even heavy, it was just empty. The next morning, Claire walked into the kitchen like nothing happened. She kissed me on the forehead, asked if I wanted waffles, then said, "You're gonna love the honeymoon packages I found." I smiled back. I nodded. I said, "Can't wait." And that's when it happened. Something inside me shut off completely. Like flipping a switch. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I just felt done. I spent the day working from home, acting normal. She texted me hearts. I sent them back. We watched a show together that night. She laughed at some joke on screen and leaned her head against my shoulder. I stayed still as stone. Later that night, when she was asleep, I started saving everything. Screenshots, chat logs, hotel receipts, photo timestamps. I made a hidden folder on my cloud drive, labeled it something boring like tax docs, and backed it all up. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet, but I knew I wasn't going to let her pretend. Not when the truth was sitting in my lap. My therapist once told me, "Betrayal is trauma without bruises." That night, I understood what he meant. She was still asleep when I sat by the window at 3 a.m., staring out into the empty street, wondering how many people were living in relationships built on lies. I didn't know what my next move would be, but I knew one thing for sure. She wasn't going to see it coming. I started planning her honeymoon, just not the one she was expecting. On the surface, everything looked normal. Claire was deep in wedding planning, texting vendors, stressing over flower arrangements, fighting with her sister about bridesmaid colors. I played the role of the supportive fiancé flawlessly. "Whatever you think looks best, babe. You're killing it. I don't know how you're managing all this." She smiled more those days, thinking I was all in. Meanwhile, I was undoing everything behind the scenes. I canceled our real honeymoon booking, every flight, every villa, every excursion. Lost a few deposits. Didn't care. I replaced it with a fake package. I made confirmation emails, fake itineraries, even a calendar invite with all the details. I had it all lined up just enough to look believable. I also called the wedding venue. Told them we'd had a family emergency. Postponed it indefinitely. Told my parents to keep quiet and trust me. They didn't understand, but they agreed. Then I started moving. Quietly. Any shared account? I froze or withdrew my share. Any joint cards? Removed my name. I opened a new bank account. Transferred my direct deposit. Moved sentimental items to my brother's place. Every piece of my life that touched hers, I started peeling it away. At night, I'd lie beside her in bed, pretending to fall asleep while she scrolled through Pinterest boards and whispered to herself about the boho chic altar. I'd stare at the ceiling, rehearsing how this would all end. But one night, she leaned over, kissed my neck, and said, "You know what I love most about us? We trust each other. No secrets." I almost laughed. Instead, I kissed her back and whispered, "Always." That night, I renamed the folder with all the proof. I called it Claire's Real Honeymoon. I didn't know exactly when I'd use it, but I knew it was coming soon. I wasn't prepared for the twist that came next. It was a Wednesday morning. Claire sat across from me at the kitchen table, poking at a bowl of cereal she barely touched. Her face was pale like she hadn't slept. Then she looked up at me with these wide, glassy eyes and said, "I think I might be pregnant." The words hit me like a wrecking ball. Pregnant. My throat tightened. My heart dropped so fast it felt like I could hear it crash inside my chest. But I didn't say a word. I didn't even flinch. I just blinked and said, "Wow. Okay, are you sure?" She shook her head. "Not yet. I'm a few days late. I haven't taken a test, but something feels different. I just thought you should know." I nodded. Reached for her hand. Said everything I thought a loving fiancé would say. "Whatever happens, we'll figure it out." Inside, though, I was spiraling because if she was pregnant, there was no guarantee it was mine. That night, while she was in the shower, I checked her iPad again. Her messages with Drew were still there. She hadn't deleted a thing. In fact, she'd texted him that same morning saying, "I think I might be pregnant." "Not sure whose it is," his reply. "If it's yours, I'll support you. If not, he'll never know." My hands started to shake. She was playing both of us. Me for the ring and the stability, him for the thrill. And now a baby was involved. A maybe baby that could rip my entire world apart if I didn't act fast. I couldn't wait for some perfect moment. The fake honeymoon. The wedding reveal. The letter. No, this wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was war. I sat on the couch that night beside her, holding her like nothing was wrong, but in my mind, I was already writing my exit. And this time, there would be no coming back. I started erasing myself from her life, piece by piece. Day by day, Claire was still floating in La La Land, thinking we were entering our new chapter. She was glowing, telling friends she felt off in a good way, and researching baby names behind my back. She hadn't even taken a test yet, but her excitement was growing. So was my disgust. I couldn't look at her without feeling sick. I waited until she left for her Saturday morning yoga class. That's when I moved. I packed everything important: my documents, my laptop, my watch from my late grandfather, and a shoebox filled with letters from my mom. Things that couldn't be replaced. I stored them all at my brother's apartment. I called our landlord and asked how early we could break the lease. Told him Claire wouldn't be staying either. I didn't care if that was true. I just wanted the ground pulled out from under her before she even realized she was falling. Then I went after the money. I removed myself from our joint savings account. Transferred everything I'd contributed into a private account she couldn't touch. I froze the wedding fund card. Changed passwords. Canceled automatic payments on her Hulu and Spotify from my card. Every tiny tether, I cut it. I drafted the letter next. It was 5 pages long. No yelling. No insults. Just cold, calculated truth. I detailed the lies, the messages, the photos. I even included a list of every date she slept with Drew based on the hotel receipts. At the end, I wrote, "You were never going to tell me the truth, so I brought it to you instead." I copied everything to a USB drive labeled "Read Me Before You Lie Again." Then I waited. One more night. One more fake smile. One more whisper of "I love you" before the final blow, and on the night before our wedding weekend. I left. I didn't leave with drama. No confrontation, no tears. Just silence. That Friday night, while Claire slept in the room we once shared, I slipped the engagement ring off her nightstand and placed it next to the letter. I added the USB beside it, just enough evidence to make her world crumble the way she had shattered mine. Then I grabbed the last of my things, closed the front door behind me, and disappeared. I turned off my phone. Turned off everything. 2 hours later, I was driving through the mountains with no real destination, just a tank full of gas and a need to breathe. I stayed at a cheap roadside motel. The bed was stiff. The room smelled like bleach and old air. But I slept harder than I had in weeks. I didn't check my phone until the next afternoon. 57 missed calls. 32 texts, all from Claire. They started with, "Where are you?" Then turned into, "Are you okay?" Then, "Please call me." Then silence. Then, "What is this?" "Please tell me this isn't real." I ignored them all. Later that night, Mia, yes, the same friend who unknowingly dropped the Drew bomb, texted me, "Dude." Claire showed up to the venue alone. In the dress. Guests were already arriving. Her mom was crying. She was crying. Then someone gave her the USB. What the hell is going on? She opened the letter. She saw the proof. The photos. The receipts. The pregnancy text to Drew. Everything. Her family turned on her immediately. Her dad refused to look at her. Her mom kept asking, "How could you do this?" Drew, he ghosted, blocked her number, deleted his socials, vanished. I don't know if she ever took that pregnancy test. I don't care, because the girl who played me like a fool finally got a taste of what it feels like to lose everything. And I wasn't even there to watch her fall. At first, she played the victim. Claire told everyone I had abandoned her before the wedding, that I must have snapped, that I'd always had emotional issues, and the pressure of marriage finally broke me. Some people believed her, at least at first. Mutual friends stopped responding to my texts. Her sister blocked me. Even one of my groomsmen, someone I'd known since high school, sent a vague post on Instagram that said, "Real men don't walk away." I let them talk. Let them think whatever helped them sleep at night. Then I sent the evidence, not publicly, just privately, to a few key people. No captions, no commentary, just the screenshots, the hotel receipts, the pregnancy messages, the group chats where she bragged about getting away with it. The same friends who ghosted me were now blowing up my phone with apologies. One message from her maid of honor read, "I'm so sorry." I had no idea. She lied to all of us. Her world collapsed fast after that. Her job found out. Apparently, she had taken PTO under the pretense of a stress-related condition. Someone forwarded them the screenshots. HR got involved. She was encouraged to resign. Even her parents distanced themselves. Her mom called my mother sobbing, saying she raised her better than this. I never replied to Claire. Not once, but I saw everything, the desperate emails, the long Facebook message requests, the fake Instagram accounts she made when I blocked her. Some were angry, some were apologetic, some were just empty, like she didn't know who to be without someone to lie to. But I wasn't bitter. I wasn't even mad anymore. I was free, and the silence she once filled with secrets was now mine to enjoy in peace. It's been over a year now, and she still doesn't know where I am. After everything, I moved across the state, changed jobs, deleted every old trace of my online life. I even switched to a dumb phone for a few months just to unplug and breathe. I didn't want revenge anymore. I just wanted my peace back. I started going to therapy regularly, not just for what happened with Claire, but for all the ways I'd let myself stay small in relationships. The way I'd silenced my own instincts to keep the peace. The way I ignored my gut when it screamed, "This isn't right." I've been slowly building a new life, one where I trust myself more. One where I don't have to sleep with one eye open. I'm seeing someone now. Casual, slow, honest. She knows everything because I told her. Not as a sob story, but as a boundary. A truth, she respects it. We talk, we listen. There are no games. Sometimes late at night, I still get emails from Claire. The subject lines range from, "I miss you," to "You ruined my life." I don't open them anymore. She still doesn't know where I live, where I work, who I've become. And that's the part that really gets to her, I think. That I left and never looked back. As for the ring, I had it melted down. Made into a small, simple pendant. Nothing flashy. Just a reminder not of her, but of me. The version of myself I almost lost. And the one I finally came back to. Because sometimes healing isn't about forgiveness. It's about making damn sure you never let the same fire burn you twice. And that's the ending she never saw coming.